Here's the old boy. Welcome to another
Here we go.
of Dangle, Bet, Celly, right here on FTN Network, on iTunes and Spotify. Chris Meaney and Eric Young here with you. Finally, it feels like the NHL season is now officially underway with EY back in the house. Welcome back to North American soil, and welcome to the 2023-2024 NHL season, good sir.
Dude, I'm embarrassed of myself. I mean, I would have quit both of my other jobs and just, this is the first opening week that I've missed in the NHL in probably 30 years. So it feels gross. I'm not in as many hockey leagues as I'd like to be because I was overseas and it made it impossible because I was in Australia and it's a 15-hour time difference. Spotty Wi-Fi on buses and hotels and but I'm back. Dangle Bet Celly is here. I see everybody in the chat room. Troy and John and me and you, and went back and forth with Clint a little bit the other day. The NHL is back, and I couldn't be happier about it.
So have you you haven't seen much then? You've been box score watching basically.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I got some fantasy teams, made some bets, and I've watched as much as I could. But I literally got back Saturday night, so I've been home for 2 days, and most of that has been being sick and sleeping because I'm exhausted. But the couch has reserved a spot for me tonight. I will stop watching games at 6 p.m. and we'll watch games to 1 a.m. And I can't wait.
9 games on the slate tonight in the NHL. Busy slate as per usual on the Tuesdays and Thursdays. We're going to go through them. You got your
That's
sheet.
how you can tell. You got the yellow
That's
sheet.
How you can tell you are
Front
back.
And back.
We're back. Go.
We're back.
Yes. We are back here. And so you got back late Saturday. You probably watched the Leafs and Connor Bedard last night. Bedard leads the NHL in shot attempts. Of course, no surprise he leads his own team in everything in terms of offensive zone possession and zone entries and shot attempts and scoring chances. And he's been pretty impressive to watch for the first few games. Of course, the Hawks have played more than most teams in the NHL, but he's grading out. He's living up to expectations. He's still obviously it's very raw for him, and he's literally just a child. He's getting pushed around quite a bit, but he is making things happen. He has an NHL right now release in the league. Like, it's NHL ready. It's ready to go. And it's he's caught a couple goalies off guard. Man, he's had a couple shots where pucks would just hit goalies. And if not for, the placement, it'd be in the back of the net. It's been pretty impressive to watch so far.
I mean, for me, watching, I've only watched a little bit. Obviously, I've been consuming as much highlights as possible. What separates him is what separates most good players, and it's the hockey IQ, right? There's lots of guys that can shoot the puck. There's lots of guys that can skate well. There's lots of guys that can stick handle and do all the things that he can do. But what separates him from an average NHL player, which is obviously a superstar in his own right, is the hockey IQ and knowing where to be. And him getting pushed around is always going to be a thing. He's not going to grow, right? Will he put on 5 or 10 pounds of muscle as he becomes an actual full-blown man? Perhaps. But as far as height and kind of body density, that's not going to change. He's always going to be pushed around. Didn't affect Patrick Kane. And I can tell you, as a person who saw Patrick Kane in person, he almost doesn't exist. He's so small. It's crazy how
well. It didn't affect Crosby, and he's going to carry himself the same way as Sid the Kid. His idol. The NHL set that up pretty good for him to play against his childhood idol opening night, prime time against the Pens, and then go to Boston and play, original 6 squad, and then follow that up with your first Saturday hockey night in Canada at the Bell Center in Montreal, and then last night playing in Toronto. So he's made the rounds here to start. He's been very impressive. I'll tell you what, he doesn't have Derrick Henry or AJ Dillon quads, but he doesn't have normal 18-year-old quads. I will say that. He is going to be a freak in the league. Before we get into tonight, I've been dealing with some allergies here, as you guys can tell, so I'm going to quickly put my predictions up take care of myself, and Eric's going to tell you where I was wrong and some of his predictions, because there's still time to get into NHL futures and things like that. And then I want to get into a superstar forward that was benched last night, already benched, played 40 seconds in the third period. Are there concerns in Jersey? We'll get to that in a second. So, EY, this is what I had for division winners and the order. So walk through what you would change differently. And guys that are hanging out here, we're going to get to some picks and some props in like 2 to 5 minutes. So I'm just going to, it's allergy season for me. So here, EY, take this away for a second. What do you disagree with? And by the way, I had your Leafs winning the President's Trophy this season.
Well, I like that. I mean, the truth is this is still an Ottawa Senators podcast. You know, it's I love them, and I love them this year. Boston, obviously, it is going to be a bit of a slip because of the personnel they lost, but I'm not going to bet against them. Everyone wants Buffalo to be a thing, but I don't know if they're fully ready. The fact that you have Tampa Bay that low is also concerning to me. I would have them above Buffalo and above Boston. Look at Toronto in the first it's fun, you know, and I mean, they're obviously a great regular season team, but none of that matters. And we've been saying this for 4 or 5 years. Toronto winning even the President's Trophy does not matter. They barely got out of the first round, and I think they probably got outplayed by Tampa, if we're being completely honest. And then they got manhandled in the second round. Montreal and Detroit obviously are young and upcoming. And I think Detroit really could surprise some people this year. It just will depend on the goaltending. Metro, love New Jersey. I was high on New Jersey last year. I put money on them to win the Stanley Cup last year. I haven't had my like late night drinking future bet session yet, but that will be coming at some point, maybe this week. I don't advise anybody to utilize that technique where you drink a bunch and then bet on a bunch of things that you think will happen in the future. Maybe not the best technique, but something that I like to do and is a bit of a tradition for me on the show. Carolina obviously will be in the hunt again. Going to be great. Rangers, again, could be good. Pittsburgh, I think, is going to be highly competitive. Anytime you have now the big four with Carlson being there, like, how can you vote against them? If Malkin decides he wants to be, he's one of, if not the best player in the NHL. Yes, he's hurt and he's old, but when he really gets upset and he really wants to dig in, he's an unbelievable player. I certainly would not have Columbus that high. I think I would have the Islanders above Columbus, but I like how you have the Metro lined up. The Central, I think that's how I would have it lined up. I certainly would have Nashville in front of Arizona, and I think I would put Nashville in front of Winnipeg as well. Like, what did they do? They got rid of Blake Wheeler. They re-signed Scheifele, who said he didn't want to be there. They re-signed Hellebuck, who said he didn't want to be there. Nobody wants to play in Winnipeg. It's brutal. You know what I mean? It's not it's not a big city. It's not a super fun city. It's unlivable in the winter. I think playing hockey there would be fun because the people are diehard fans, but nobody wants to live in Winnipeg. And you have to, convert to the Canadian money and all the tax and yada, yada, yada. But I do love Dallas at the top there. And obviously Edmonton at the top. I will be voting on them to win the Stanley Cup again. I love this Los Angeles Kings team. The signing of Dubois is obviously a massive deal. I think could be a massive difference maker there. They lose Velarde, they lose some other players, but I think Trevor Moore is going to take a big step this year. I think when they get Arvidsson back, they are loaded on the wing, loaded down the middle of the ice, and have still a pretty good decor. The truth is Drew Doughty is still getting it done. I don't know if he's 50 or 55 years old, but he's still a very good player. Vegas Golden Knights, basically the same team as they had last year. And we saw what that was. If Jordan Marchessault can play half of the year at the level he played the playoffs in, he could be, a massive difference maker for this team. Seattle, basically the same team, lost a couple people. I don't think I like them as much this year as I did last year. I think I would probably move Calgary above them. And obviously bottom feeders, San Jose and Anaheim aren't trying to be good. They're not interested in being good, and they shouldn't be interested in being good. They've got a long ways to go, especially San Jose. I think he's done all the right things, right? Like, he comes in, he's got these 2 massive contracts, I guess Burns was already gone, but this massive contract in Carlson, who's 40 something years old. And, he's got to get rid of these contracts. He still has Vlasic there, who is not a good player anymore and is making a ton of money that he needs to try to get out from underneath. But I think Greer is doing all the right things there so far.
Yeah, hard to argue with a lot of things that you said. I see some people in the chat, Bruins are too high, the Canucks look good. My thinking with Tampa is that, man, this team just, I know it's a very small sample size, but I have not been impressed with the first few games that I've watched.
They've looked pretty disorganized, right?
Ottawa completely took it to them. I mean, they have no Vasilevsky for the first 2 months of the season, so they arguably have the worst goaltending in the NHL. They still have some solid pieces, but they continue to just lose depth pieces every single year. Like, say what you want about Killorn or Palat, but these are pieces that they're losing, in their bottom 6, which is what made them so strong over the past couple of years. Stamkos dealing with an injury already. They still have some superstar forwards that are carried with Sergachev and Hedman, but this is a team that I think we need to pick on to start the season. And the Bruins are going to play a really good brand of 5-5 hockey, but I am Pavel Zacha and Charlie Coyle are just not the answer at center 1 and center 2. So maybe they squeeze into the playoffs, but I think when they go up against a team like, I don't know, say Toronto, say the Devils, not so much the Hurricanes, they're loaded on the back end, but teams that are just loaded down the middle of the ice, I think that will catch up to them. But who knows? It was really tough to put Tampa out of the playoffs, and
of course it is
the Bruins, and it's like last year, right? We saw the fall.
You could pick anyone's list apart.
Pittsburgh. Yeah, Washington and Pittsburgh fell back. The Capitals are completely in trouble. Having them second last or third last, I was probably a little bit unfair with the Islanders. They brought back the exact same squad. They're one of the oldest teams in the NHL. They'll probably finish ahead of the Blue Jackets, but I thought maybe the Blue Jackets, with a lot of the additions they made and the youngsters, and then Werenski, all of a sudden he's on the IR to start the season.
Brutal.
So
poor guy.
Tough go for him. They need him to make some sort of playoff push. My biggest concern was them in goal as well, and I haven't seen anything. No stability in net between for them as well. Sidebar. Thank you.
That's right. Happy birthday, buddy.
Thank you. Yesterday, maybe that's why I'm feeling like I have allergies, but maybe I'm just hungover. Because I certainly had a few tasty beverages.
Those are adult old man allergies. I get them too. I used to be able to drink 1.5 liters of vodka and fall asleep on the floor and wake up like nothing happened. Now, if I drink 6 beers, I'm useless for the whole next day. So,
man, I was fine for the first 2 hours I was up, and then all of a sudden, 15 minutes before the show, it's allergy season. Okay, so I like it. A little bit of pushback. I dig it. Your Preds. It was really tough for me too. Preds and Jets, Flames, Canucks.
Yeah.
It's who's that team that makes it in? They're all very similar and crapshoots. Canucks look pretty good. They played the Oilers for the first 2 games, just dysfunctional again between the pipes. So it'll be a fun race. Like I said, we're gonna get into the picks. We just wanted to hear your thoughts. You'll have some futures for us. I had it's not breaking any news here, but I had Matthews here winning the Hart. I like this start that he's had. Onger for the Vezina, Heiskanen, Norris, Bedard, Calder. I got your boy Keefe as coach of the year. I just feel I know it's all about the playoffs for the Toronto Maple Leafs, but I think they're in for a heck of a regular season, and I'm seeing some teams that are taking the step back, like Boston and Toronto. Let's get after tonight, but before we do, we want to say what up to the crew. As per usual, Troy's in the house. Someone in my league panic and drop Jeff Skinner. I don't know who to drop for him. It's between Hartman, Teravine, Kadri, and Buchnevich. Let me know what you think. I would drop Buchnevich. That would be my first guy that I would move on from. Teravine, it's kind of hot. Yeah. It's got a couple goals here to start the season. Hartman, you get a little bit of a little bit of exposure to Kirill Kaprizov, and Kadri, I'm not totally in on either. I have my waiver wire article linked here inside the description of the video, just talking about waiver wire pickups. We'll do it for free every single weekend over at ftnfantasy.com. Just talking about the week to come, 4-game streams, attacking the schedule. Buchnevich is he's not a big shooter. I like him overall as a player. I'm not crazy about the Blues. Yeah, when he's playing and he's next to Thomas and Kyrou, it's one of the better lines in the league, but I would swap out a pass first player for a shoot first player at any time. And it's way too early to be panicking, guys, on like that's maybe a panic drop, but people want to stream the position. I get it. That's the move I would make, Troy. Good morning, Adam. Welcome in. We got Dustin in the house. Welcome back, EY. The fam is all together again. And good morning, Troy. We got John Marchese in here. Hammerhead Union. Welcome in. What is going on? Yes, everybody is loving it. EY's back. Emmerich, let's go. Connor 69.5. I jumped on the under 75.5 when it came out. I think, I'm not ready to say that it's a lock he's going to get to 70. Like, it's impressive that he's playing a lot and he's shooting a lot and the puck's on his stick. I mean, the 5-on-3 power play the other night at the Bell Center went through him as an 18-year-old kid. Like, that's super cool for him, but the Hawks are atrocious, even though they won last night against the Leafs. They're not going to score a lot of goals this season. Taylor Hall's really going to need to stay healthy all year. He's got to be surrounded by some talent. When Hall didn't play the other night, Corey Perry's up on that top line. So I love Perry as a player, but I'm not ready to lock that in. I know, Hammerhead, you got the over there, but I view him as like a 30. I think he can get to 30, 35 and another 30, 35 assists. It's kind of right there around that number. So we'll see how it works out for him. It's a long season, and hopefully he can hold up. Seth, great to see you back, Eric. Great night last night. Chris, appreciate you. Yeah, we had a decent betting night. It's been hot and cold, but we had a good one. MLB article went 3 for 3. Coasters Corner. EY gets it. Sends Army. Bruins too high. Boston or Tampa? Who makes the playoffs? Both? Neither? One of the two?
I mean, it will depend on their record without Vasilevsky, right? Like, is this team good
under
enough
500
to overcome?
He'll be under 500 by the time he's ready to play.
I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, still the defense core is unbelievable. The forwards personnel is unbelievable. I think that they could coddle again together a 500 or slightly above record, and I think if they do that, and then they get a fully healthy and kind of refreshed Vasilevsky and just ride him all the way through, right? Like, he doesn't take many games off as it is. And then having him out for the first few months could be an advantage for them. I mean, in the end, all you have to do is make it into the playoffs. And I'm not betting against Tampa Bay to not make it in the playoffs.
Fair enough. Buffalo against above both. I was really close to doing that. I'm not Devin Levi. I'm not sold. He was really good Northeastern. First couple games, not fantastic from him, but we could certainly see if he just gives them above average goaltending, like, they'll get in. I think they'll get in. We want to talk Timo Meier here for a quick second, and then we're going to move on. Appreciate all the messages here, guys. You guys are awesome. You guys are fantastic. Love it. Canucks. We got what's up, boys? Good to see EY on, my favorite show for NHL Picks, and we're going to give you guys a couple here in a second. We got Richard in the house. Welcome back. Wish I had your help drafting my 60 best puck teams. I have 50% Vasilevsky. Drafting the most of the summer was awesome. Yeah, we did a few of those here on our FTN Network YouTube page. It's the most best ball drafts I've ever done as well. I am absolutely loaded with best ball content. It's a long season. It's okay. And it is a best ball league. Having 50% of Vasilevsky is not ideal, but hopefully there's no setbacks, and he's playing at the end of November, maybe early December, and he can carry your teams there. Between you and Marshall, we have 300 teams. You can add me in there too. We're 400 then. Okay, let's get going. But first, we're doing this. It's like almost like a weekly segment here, occurring thing. Timo Meier last night.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
Nothing. Me? Just hanging around.
Literally, Timo Meier hanging around last night in New Jersey on the bench in the third period, played 40 seconds. An awful start to the season for him and Nico Hischier. In fact, the Devils haven't played good at all. No. I don't think they played 2 complete periods yet to start the season. Of course, they have high expectations, right? Everybody's talking about them winning the cup. Jack Hughes, Art Ross, Rocket, MVP, those sprinkles. I'm in on it too. 99 points last season, the breakout campaign. He's off to a good start. Toffoli, Jesper Bratt, those guys are doing things. Dougie Hamilton doing things. Still too early to panic on the Devils, but where are we at with Timo Meier and Lindy Ruff? Pretty surprising for me, anyways, to see Timo Meier, who just got the extension, be on the bench in a third period a week. We are officially a week into the season.
Yeah, I think that's probably the most important thing that you said. We're 1 week into the season. And look, like Lindy Ruff, amazing coach and has been for 20-something years, right? Like, I mean, I would take him over a lot of players or a lot of coaches. Meier's transition to New Jersey has been brutal, I think, if we're being completely honest. I think there was lots of teams that wanted him. I've been a huge Timo Meier fan. Fantasy-wise, checks all the boxes, hits, goals, assists, blocks. I mean, he kind of does everything. He's a really good player. But since leaving San Jose, he's been an afterthought. And since getting to New Jersey, his level of play is, for a player of his caliber, I would say it's been embarrassing. I don't know what word you would use, but I would say embarrassing. And being benched for the third period in a game that you're behind and being one of the highest paid players on the team. If you're a competitive person, and I'm willing to bet that he is, I bet you that's going to be pretty motivating, right? Like, Lindy Ruff is a very experienced coach. He's not doing it to be an asshole. He's doing it to send a message and saying, we're paying you whatever it is, $8 million, $9 million, and you need to be better, period. The end of it. It's a business, and he hasn't held up his end of the bargain. So I would be very surprised if next game we don't see
his best game of the season.
The real Timo Meier.
Yeah.
Yep. And I mean, look, I know it's narrative street, but the reality is this is sports, man. They're human beings. And if you're being paid that kind of money and the kind of caliber player you are, and they all believe they're the best player in the NHL, they all believe that deep down in their heart, and you don't play the entire third period where your team is losing, and you play in the NHL and you're a psycho, you're an absolute psycho. I mean, write it down. Next time New Jersey plays, they're scoring, and I'm betting on it.
I wonder if I like the tactic too from Ruff. I thought it was very interesting though to, that early on in the season to do that.
You don't see it that often anymore, right?
No, you really don't see it that often anymore. But yeah, Ruff has been around. He's been around for a long, long time. He's had a lot of success in the NHL too. I have a couple of Devils fans that don't really like the way he goes about things, but we'll see what this does for him. We'll see if there's any line movement. A lot of people want to put Timo Meier with Jack Hughes, but I think he looks good alongside Bratt, and I'd like to see Toffoli there. But if Hischier and Timo Meier can't figure this thing out, then there may have to be some line juggling. Let's get in tonight, and let's start here in Philadelphia. We got the Vancouver Canucks and the Philadelphia Flyers. We have the Canucks here. The odds have changed just a touch, -130 over at Caesars for Vancouver on the money line, and we have Philadelphia here at +117. Best possible odds, link inside the description of this video to the prop shop and the parlay calculator. Save you a lot of time and save you a lot of cash. And the over-under here is 6 in most spots. We've seen some 6.5s. There's still some 6.5s out there. FanDuel over 6.5 is +100. At 365 is at 6 at -115. We got Elias Pettersson on the board and Cam Atkinson. I went to Cam Atkinson. One thing we're seeing with the Flyers here, Cam Atkinson didn't play at all last year. Sean Couture's hardly touched the ice over the past couple of seasons. Cam Atkinson I had in the first game for over 2.5 shots, and we got lucky. He had an empty net goal at the very end of the game to actually score for he's got it was his first goal in a long time, but he has scored a goal in his opening game of the season 6 times in his NHL career. So that's a fun little thing that he's got going on. Maybe something to keep an eye on next year. I lean to the over 2.5 shots again here today. He was stuck on 2 in his second game, but he is a volume shooter. He loves to shoot the puck. He's +114 for a point. He's +100 over at Bet365 for 3 shots. So I'm looking at him. And I'm looking at Kuzmenko for just a point at -115 here tonight. He's got a point in each of his first 2 games. They've come on the power play. Not a lot of ice time in game number 2, just 12 minutes. I'd like to see more 5-and-5 production, but I like the fact that he's playing with Elias Pettersson. I like the fact that he's on that first power play. So minus 115 for Kuzmenko to pick up a point. I mean, this guy was basically a point per game player last year in his first season in the NHL. He played 81 games. He had 39 goals. He had 74 points, 14 power play goals, 19 points overall. So looking at him and also looking at Brock Besser, I think if you have Brock Besser, you kind of ride this thing out, but you make him available in your fantasy hockey leagues. What we know about Brock Besser is when this guy's playing and he's on the ice, he's producing. He's shooting the puck. He's on the second line with JT Miller. He gets first power play time. 4 goals, of course, will stand out as he scored 4 in the very first game on 8 shots. The Oilers, just a bloody mess to start the season. They've allowed 12 goals here in 2 games. They're on the slate tonight in Nashville against your Preds. But Brock Besser does like to shoot it. Issues staying healthy, but Besser 2.5, Atkinson 2.5, and Kuzmenko point. You got some goal scorers for us here. Elias Pettersson, man, when he just makes things happen every single night. He's super impressive.
Yeah, and I think we still have yet to see the best him. I know that we've been saying that for 2 years, right? But I believe as he matures and as he gets stronger, he's only going to get better. I got him to score at plus 120, and I've got Besser. I mean, the truth is you ride the hot hand, and Besser's been unreal. 9 shots, 4 goals. I get they all came in the one game, but playing with JT Miller is a great thing, and more importantly, playing that shooting position on the top power play for Vancouver is what I'm most excited about. Philadelphia side, Konechny, he's been good for, a year and a half. And I think, could be one of the most underrated players in the NHL over the last year and a bit. I really like him at plus 150. And they've got this new kid, Jacob Forrester. Look, man, he's centering the first line and playing on the top power play. And he's plus 370. So you're playing with great players. Obviously, Tortorella trusts him, which is strange because that's not something Tortorella does often with young players. But centering the top line and centering the top power play and plus 370, sign me up.
I like it. My goal scorers will be Kuzmenko and Cam Atkinson. I'm just like Cam Atkinson, man. He's always been a shooter. He just loves to shoot the puck. It's just, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of Cam. And I'm surprised is this a trap? Like the Vancouver Canucks last night when I was putting together some of these boards for George and Fox, and I appreciate you guys. Canucks were like minus 140, minus 143. I'm seeing minus 130 now for Vancouver. I don't really know why. I like them tonight on the money line. I think it's probably one of my favorite plays. I haven't put a lot of money line picks in the tracker just yet, but Vancouver in the tracker right now for me on the money line. I dig them. Who do you think wins this game?
I've got Vancouver winning this game. Philadelphia they don't want to be good yet. I feel like there's one of those teams. I think that they're going
they want to be, but they just can't. They can't be.
Well, yeah. I mean, Tortorella's
have the personnel.
He doesn't give a shit what personnel. He's going to try to win games, and they're going to play a tough style. But I mean, the reality is they don't have enough good players to be competitive in the NHL right now. I still like Carter Hart. I still think he's a very good goalie. I think he's going to continue to be a good goalie. And I think as that team improves, he's going to improve as a goaltender. So I got Vancouver winning tonight because I like how they've looked early on. But I mean, it could go either way.
Look at this comment. Meaney making money. My buddy calls me Moneymaker Meaney just from like a couple putts. Like one time we had a golf tournament, I made like a 40-foot putt and he called me that. And then I missed like 2-foot putt next hole. So AS, appreciate you, dude. We got Pettersson over 3.5 shots plus 140. Can't beat that price. I mean, he loves to shoot the puck and he's all over the net. And yeah, if you're looking for a long shot plus money play, I can get behind that one as well. Vancouver money line. Appreciate you. We got Kuzmenko here for a goal. Quinn Hughes for an assist all the time. My one problem with like the Hughes assist though, it's pretty juice, is it not? Like you're drinking a lot of juice on that Quinn Hughes apple.
Right.
Minus 150 for an assist. It's a little steep to take, but yeah, I mean he probably has an assist here.
Put it in a parlay with some other stuff.
Yeah, you could do man, allergies are killing me. You could do a fun little same game parlay with Pettersson 2 points, Kuzmenko point, Brock 2.5 shots. Maybe Brock and JT correlate as well. So maybe like those guys to pick up a point each. And then on the other side, maybe an Atkinson point, Atkinson shot, or something like that. Okay, let's get going here to the next one. Cam York is fire waiver wire ad. Yeah, I don't think fire. I mean, this is the Flyers after all, but he is getting an opportunity. Like I'm in, this is not to toot my own horn here, but I'm in like 15, 20 fantasy hockey leagues. And that guy's not touching my roster really anywhere because there's a lot of good defensemen out there. A bit deep league, Troy. I think like a DFS play, a betting sprinkle here and there. But yeah, he's certainly getting an opportunity. He's going to have one this year. I have my eyes on him. I certainly do. Like if you had Werenski, maybe you could make that swap. But Provorov is a guy that I really like to pick up in fantasy hockey. He can touch a lot of categories for you for his power play. And Blue Jackets all of a sudden pretty thin now, just losing Werenski there. So let's continue to move on here. Let's go to Nashville. Let's talk about your Preds. Got the Preds here at home. We'll give you some live odds here. You see plus 124 on the board. I don't think we've seen much change or movement. Plus 130 you can get Nashville. So a little bit here. And the Edmonton Oilers minus 145 over at Caesars. And we have the goal total here at 6.5, the over minus 120, the under at plus 100. So the Oilers, the first two games against their division rivals, Vancouver, they got absolutely just demolished in the first game, 8-1. And then the second game, they were in that game, had the lead for a little bit, but Vancouver was able to pull it off. I'm not sure why Edmonton decided to start Jack Campbell in the first game of the season. It wasn't really the only reason that they lost, but here we go again. That's the biggest question. I'm here north of the border, so I see it all the time. Like you call the Oilers in the Stanley Cup, I get it. They're the trendy pick. Everybody here north of the border, you can guess what their Stanley Cup final prediction is. Just guess it. It's Edmonton and it's Toronto. Edmonton, Toronto, Edmonton, Toronto, Edmonton, Toronto. It's like, holy shit, what year is it? Every year we do this thing.
Every year.
Edmonton and Toronto. My biggest questions about Edmonton and Toronto, can these teams keep the puck out of their net? That's the biggest question that I have. I think the Oilers, I would lean to Edmonton, but there's no question the best goalie between these two teams is UC Saros. Philip Forsberg has been a freak so far. He played there too. Start. He did play there too for a moment. And these numbers are skewed just a touch, but he's played 3 games. He's got 20 shot attempts. Yeah. That's at 5-5. Just at 5-5, 3 games and 20 shot attempts. He is shooting. There's a little bit of chemistry going on already between him and Ryan O'Reilly. Those two guys are on my list in terms of shot attempts. Yes, or shot props. Yeah, and preseason as well. So I'll let you take it away. It's early. What have you seen from Nashville? Are they live home dogs here tonight? What you got?
Yeah, it's a homer pick, but I'm not betting against them, even though it's Edmonton. I think I was reading that Ekholm will play. I don't know if that's true. We'll
see.
If he plays, there will certainly be a video. Played his entire career except for last year. He
did suit up in the last game. So
the Nashville Predators, unbelievable defenseman. I think it was exactly what they needed. And the truth is this is a very good team. But the reality is like you said, and we've said this for the last 2 years, goaltending. I read all this stuff on The Athletic and other places. Jack Campbell dedicated himself, and he's working out like a lunatic and blah blah. Every player does this. This is not like it's not the 1965 where they smoke cigarettes and drink beers at their cottage, right? Like Jack Campbell's a professional athlete. Yes, he worked out like a savage in the offseason. He has to. He's an older guy. And if you want to maintain what you have to work at twice the rate. That's just the reality of it. Their goaltending has been absolutely brutal. Nashville is a middle of the pack team. That's not lost on me. I think that they will be competitive all year. I think a ton of these young players that showed up last year, Tommy Novak, Kiefer Sherwood, Josef Parssinen, these are all important pieces to them and were really good last year. And this year, I believe will be even better. I put my money where my mouth is, and I have a Novak and a Parsonen's jersey. Wearing my captain and yours, the Roman Josi jersey. I might be the only person that has a UC Parsonen jersey other than his family, and I like that. I like it. Yeah. Look, man, playing on the top line, the kid is just a workhorse. He's not getting power play time, but I think that he will. I think Nashville wins this. I got Draisaitl and Kane. Troy brought up a good point that I noticed this morning is that they're loading up that top line with McDavid, Draisaitl, and Kane, which is terrifying, right? I mean, it's absolutely terrifying with those two players. It's not if, it's when they're going to score, because they're going to score. It's two of the top 5 players in the league. If they're going to play on the same line, it's almost inevitable. UC Saros is one of the best goaltenders in the league. Roman Josi is one of the best defensemen in the league. And Philip, I went Peter Forsberg too. You got me.
Yes.
Philip Forsberg is a stud, and this might be his best season yet. If he continues on, he's not going to shoot the puck like he has been, but because that's not, he's the shooter on this team. But on the Nashville side, I've got Cody Glass playing important minutes at the center position, and he's at plus 275, and obviously Forsberg to score here as well.
Yeah, I got Forsberg as well, plus 185. I mean, he's shooting the puck so much, right? These guys that are shooting the puck and they're getting, it's like free range just to go, right? New coaching staff, Let him go. You know what I mean?
That's right. And Burnett is an offensive guy. He wants structure. He wants, defensive structure and you to play within a system. But offensively, he wants you to be creative. And look at the Nashville Predators want the puck on Philip Forsberg's stick. He's the best shooter on the team. It's not even close. And that's if they want to win, that's what they need to be doing. Figuring out ways and drawing up ways to get Philip Forsberg an open lane to shoot the puck.
The days of Leon Draisaitl at 2.5 are over. He's 3.5 everywhere. I see Bet Rivers at 2.5 minus 167. I got a couple things written down here. Bouchard 2.5 shots. He's got 5 in each of his first 2 games. He remains on that first power play. He's just, of course, that power play is so lethal, but they use him quite a bit to shoot the puck. Like Hyman is just in front of the net, and they're kind of playing pitch and catch, back and forth with McDavid and Draisaitl on the half boards. But they looked at Bouchard quite a bit. So 2.5 is minus 125. I like him for an assist. It's a bet I may just make all year long until it gets into the Quinn Hughes territory. But this is a guy that picked up, he was over a point per game in the playoffs last year. I think he had 13 power play points. He just racks up power play points, man. He's he may just get 80 points this year, and that wouldn't surprise me at all. And I got Ryan O'Reilly for a point at minus 125. I think it's pretty good. Forsberg's minus 160. They can correlate together. The Bet365 users out there, you can do Ryan O'Reilly and Forsberg. So Bouchard shots, Bouchard assist. I do like Hyman for an assist. That may come on the PP, but I don't like the fact that they got Kane on that line. I don't think something about Kane, man. While watching the first 2 games, he just looks super slow. I don't know, man. The Oilers, just the bottom 6 is not great. The goaltending is not great. I know it's early. It's only early. They're going to score a lot of goals. They're going to make the playoffs. It would be shocking if they didn't make the playoffs. It's still too early. Connor Brown is a guy that I mentioned is a sleeper, deep league sleeper. That's one of those guys that maybe I would move on from one of those guys as opposed to a Jeff Skinner or a Kadri or something. We had the question a little bit earlier. I think the Oilers win. I think Edmonton pulls off this win and gets their first win of the season. What do you got? I always like keeping an eye on the chat and just, you guys are part of the show as well. So I want to hear your thoughts. McDavid, Draisaitl playing together tonight. Yes. A change they made. I mean, that stuff's going to happen 1,000 times this season. Get the goal. Troy's been the Blue Jackets, right? The Blue Jackets, he's been, maybe that's why I had them so high. He's all Blue Jackets, Blue Jackets, Blue Jackets. What's going on with the Blue Jackets to start the season? I'd like to hear your thoughts on that. Patrick Laine playing center is not. I don't think it's good. I don't like it. I'm not a big fan. Ryan O'Reilly face-off wins Prize Picks. I mean, it's a good one. I haven't even looked. I take anything over 14.5. Guy wins 20 face-offs a game. Bouchard shots. Yes, we like those ones. UC shots. Bouchard every night. Here we go. Troy, I want to know about the goaltending in Columbus too. Where are we at with the goaltending in Columbus? Do you want Jake Allen? He's available. I'll give you a call. You can get Jake Allen. It's an upgrade. Colorado, the Avs and Kraken. My goodness. All of us at FTN were up super late in the wee hours of the morning watching the Colorado Avalanche play the San Jose Sharks. It was probably one of the most impressive performances I've ever seen from a goalie, Mackenzie Blackwood. And one of the most, just watching that game and seeing the Avs hit 3 or 4 posts. I think their expected goals at 5-5 was like 6.5. Cale Makar scored in the final minute to tie the game up. They just could not buy a goal, and they were all over the net. Anyways, they have a matchup tonight in Seattle against the Kraken, the team that bounced them in the first round of the playoffs. Hammerhead Union's Seattle Kraken. Actually, the Kraken, we say this is a Senator show. This is also a Seattle Kraken show. We are big Kraken fans here. They are, of course, home dogs, though. Get you the live odds using the parlay calculator. We got Seattle at plus 134 over at FanDuel. We have the Avs at minus 145. I got to jump on the Avs here at minus 145. As much as I like Seattle this season and last year, we had some fun with them, certainly betting them as dogs and things like that. They did lead the NHL in 5-5 shooting percentage. They're the only team that had a double-digit shooting percentage at 5-5. Our guy Dom Luszczyszyn from The Athletic says that was a record since he's been tracking it in the analytical era. I believe he called it. So far to start the season, Seattle has lost all 3 of their games. They have been on the road. They've been tough matchups, in Vegas to start the season. They had the whole cup raising banner thing against your Preds. They were shut out, and then St. Louis. So they've scored 2 goals through 3 games. They'll have the home opener tonight. It'll be fun. The barn will be rocking. But I like the Avs to go in and take care of business, and I think this is pretty good odds, for a Colorado team at minus 145 money line. McKinnon every night, if you want to do it every single night. I think he had 14 shot attempts in the last game. I'll double check
Is that good?
Oh no, it was 14 shots. 14 shots. I think the shot attempts were like 20. So through 2 games, he's got 18 shots. Played 25 minutes the other night. It was, like I said, it was unbelievable. And it's hockey. These things happen. I'm sure you played a beer league game where you guys are just like pinned in the offensive zone, but you can't score. You can't find a way to buy a goal. You end up losing the game. Mackenzie Blackwood sell high immediately. But it was a really good performance from him. I like the Avs here tonight. I think McKinnon as well. I think a 2-point night. He's really favored to have a 2-point night, but I would just take the odds on Mikko Rantanen because they kind of correlate, right? So if McKinnon's minus 130 for 2 points and Rantanen's plus 130 for 2 points, like take that. Vegas is thinking that Nate will probably get 2 points. And if that's the case, Mikko Rantanen's probably involved as well. I like your boy Ryan Johansson on that first power play unit. He's sneaky to pick up a point. And I may do this with Duran until they really shuffle the lines. Jonathan Duran to pick up an assist as well at plus money, just playing with Mikko and playing with, I don't know how long that's going to last. He's looked okay to start the season. He's got the speed for sure. But for now, anyways, he is linked to his old buddy, Nathan McKinnon from the Mooseheads days, and Mikko Rantanen. That could change at any moment though, because Duran is not the most reliable player in his own end. He's going to have to play a good brand of 200-foot hockey to stay there. So Avs for me. What you got?
Yeah, I got Avs to win here too. I got McKinnon, even though it's plus 105. I will probably include him in my 8-way parlay that I can't seem to bet anymore through DraftKings. I don't know why. I live in communist Tennessee. Maybe that's the reason. But yeah, I got McKinnon and Lehkonen. Lehkonen has looked really good for the Avs, and he's at plus 240. So sign me up. Eventually, the books will catch up, but they haven't caught up yet. That he's playing really well and playing really important minutes for this team. Seattle, I'm going with the usual suspects. They do not spread. They spread the scoring out, so it's really hard to kind of decide what to go. But Berniers and McCann playing on the top line, playing on the top power play together. Sign me up.
Yeah, really slow start for Matty Berniers.
Really
Hasn't done a whole lot. I was thinking about dropping him in one of my leagues, but I'm just going to be patient for now. So the Duran point is minus 105. And watch, he scores tonight, but I don't think you should ever really take the Duran point. He doesn't shoot enough. He's plus 145 for an assist. Like, that's the way to go. This guy may get 30, 35 assists this year and only like 6 or 7 goals. So Duran assists at plus 145. Mikko Rantanen for 2 points at plus 140. McKinnon, like I said, I mean, Nathan McKinnon, just wanted to look at the overall shot attempts that he has so far to start the season. These are at all strengths. He's got 33. He's got 33 shot attempts in 2 games. What an absolute psycho this guy is. He's minus 150 for 5 shots. Like, are you kidding me? With 35 shot attempts in 2 games, like, it's just crazy talk.
It's insane.
Anyways,
it's got to be close to a record in the modern era.
Man, I know Bork had like 19 or 21 like for the Bruins years ago as a defenseman.
Right.
I thought that was pretty weird. And I'm pretty sure McKinnon had a game last year. I remember that's why the Bork stat comes to my mind, because I was trying to think, like, has anyone had this amount of shots in a game? And it's like, no, this guy's a freak. So it's minus 150 for Nate, but it's like a parlay thing that you would do. If there's anyone from Seattle that I would take tonight, and I don't like them because I really like Georgiev, he's strong in goal. I kind of lean Colorado in the under because of the Kraken not scoring a lot of goals here. But it's McCann and Bjorkstrand. Like, those are the shooters on the squad. Those are the guys that I typically go to in terms of shot props and anytime goal scorers for the Kraken. I got a feeling that is Hammerhead Union on Seattle here tonight? No, he's not. And this is rare. He's usually all about it. He's on the Avs puck line tonight. So the Avs to win by 2 to get it done in Seattle. There's no debate that the Kraken will be competitive all year, but we're going to see a little bit of regression, I think. Like, McCann had a career high shooting percentage. There's a lot of guys on that team that just had, an alarming shooting percentage. So that may come down a touch, and they haven't been able to get any goaltending at 5-5 either. Evan Gallagher here. Cale Makar going to be fired up if the Kraken fans continue to boo him every time he touches the puck. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
The big shot that he had on McCann, that will carry over. They will boo him tonight, and that will carry over. Yeah, forever and ever. That's a thing that will happen. What's Cale Makar? Because he's been shooting a lot as well. It's just too juiced, man. Minus 167. Minus 140 for an apple. All right, too juiced. Let's move on. You like the Avs? Avs win?
Yep.
Should be a good one. This is a rematch of last year in the 3rd round, the Western Conference Finals, the Dallas Stars and the Vegas Golden Knights. Jack Eichel, man, he is picked up where he's left off last year in the playoffs. He's been fantastic to start the season. That line is just so good. They make things happen every time they touch the ice. That's Eichel, Marchessault, and Barbashev, who is among the leaders in shot attempts and scoring chances at 5-5 to start the season. Eichel has a point in every single game. He's got 5. He's got 2 power play points. He's got 2 goals. He is shooting the puck as well, 3, 6, and 8 through his first 3 games. It sounds like Rupe Hintz, our guy, is going to make his season debut tonight. Tyler Seguin jumped up on that top line in the Stars last game. We had the over 2.5 shots, and we jumped on that. But I probably will stay clear of Seguin tonight. Nothing is confirmed with Hintz. The Stars played 1 game on the season. It was at home. They won 2-1 against the Blues. But over the weekend, I saw reports. I forget who it was from now, whoever covers the Stars, Mike something. Anyways, he reported that Hintz was practicing in full and on that top spot with his boys, Pavelski and Jason Robertson. This should be a really fun one. I think he plays. Yeah, I think he suits up, but it's just an educated guess. What do you got?
That's fair. Yeah, I got Vegas winning this one at home. I got Eichel at 155 and Stone at 185 to score. Dallas, Robertson off to a bit of a slow start for him, right? I mean, he just came out
just
firing last year, right? Yeah, it's 1 game. I believe he scores. I'll be including him in my 8-way parlay that we'll do at the end of the show. And Tyler Seguin has looked pretty good, like now kind of being almost a full year removed from that crazy hip surgery. He was pretty good going into the last quarter of the season and in the playoffs. So I like him at plus 310.
I like Eichel. He's just kind of feeling at the moment, healthy, shooting, playing with a lot of confidence, a couple of rushes, man. A beautiful goal. Yeah, he is a really good player, and it's just nice to see him healthy, right, at the moment, because it's just a lot of just things have happened to him over the first few years of his NHL career. He's plus 120. The thing with these 2 teams, right, it's tough. There's not usually a lot of shots. Vegas blocks everything. Dallas is pretty structured, so there's not a lot I really like here. I kind of have a lean to the under in this game. And I will lean with Vegas on home ice. They're just playing so good. But a Marchessault and Eichel same game parlay point parlay over at Bet365 I like. And I do have a lean to the over on Eichel's shots, and I may dive into Hintz if Hintz plays, because 2.5 at plus 110 is always appealing for me for Hintz tonight at plus 110. And then another guy too, and this is just kind of keep an eye and see what happens with Alex Pietrangelo. I don't know if there's any word on Pietrangelo. It doesn't seem like a lengthy injury. He was hit by a puck here. He didn't suit up against the Ducks the other night. According to reports, it's not a long-term thing. But if he doesn't play, Shea Theodore gets more involved. Shea Theodore, sometimes they rotate through Pietrangelo and Theodore on that top power play. But Shea Theodore, you can see the ice time. Like, he played 18 minutes in game one, then played 25 minutes in the last game with no Pietrangelo. He had a goal. He had 2 power play points. He had 3 shots. So I may dive into Shea Theodore at over 2.5 shots at plus 105, or maybe to pick up a point at plus 105 if there is no Pietrangelo here tonight. You got a side? Vegas, Dallas?
Yeah, Vegas for me.
Okay. Minnesota and Montreal, the Canadiens at home here, 6.5. The odds have changed here a little bit. We've seen plus 130 on the board here. They're actually plus 120 now. I think some money coming in on the Montreal Canadiens. The Minnesota Wild at minus 138. You're going to go, again, shop around. I see some 125s out there, but actually, no, the best I'm seeing right now for the Canadiens is plus 120 over at Bet365, and the total here at 6.5. The Habs played pretty good to start the season. They played the Leafs in the opener. They blew that game. They were up 2 goals with like 6-7 minutes left. They blew that one, lost in a shootout. Then they played the Hawks in game 2. So the competition in game number 2 is not great. I like Minnesota. I'm not going to overthink this too much. I think they're the more complete team. I think they're stronger in goal. They are a little bit depleted on the blue line as of now. No Jared Spurgeon on the ice. They lost a bunch of guys, through free agency and Klingberg and Matt Dumba. But Kaprizov, always a threat to score every single night. Zuccarella's owned the Habs over the course of his career. That's like a sneaky little goal scorer. On the Montreal side of things, Caulfield makes things happen every single time he touches the puck. He's got goals in the first 2 games to start the season. And Kirby Dach, man, is already hurt. That's a long-term injury. Don't know the extent, how long, but just a rough start. Like, he breaks his wrist, World Juniors for Team Canada. He suffers a big injury for the Hawks. Last year, he was out for a bit. Now, This year to start the season, he's out. And I was really impressed. I thought the best line in the ice against your Leafs for the opener was Dach, Slavkovsky, and Newhook. Newhook had a couple goals. Slavkovsky was all over the ice, had 6 attempts, had a couple assists. So they're going to have to shuffle up some lines just a little bit. But I like Minnesota here to win, and minus 140 is pretty decent odds. One of my favorite picks, actually. What you got?
Yeah, it's more of a gut thing, and I think mostly because of the depleted D core from Minnesota. But I'm going Montreal in this one. Minnesota, of course. I've got Kaprizov, even though he's negative 110 on DraftKings. I got him in the A-way parlay, and I got Jonas Johansson plus 265, playing important minutes, playing on the top power play, and anybody that plays with Zuccarello and Kaprizov, I like them to score goals. Obviously, Caulfield plus 110. Just absolute sniper. In some of my drafts that I was able to partake in, like, he was so far down, I couldn't believe. Like, I couldn't believe how far down.
And Yahoo had him buried like he was a freaking 4th line winger on the worst team ever.
Like, come on. Insane. I mean, there was a very good possibility that he was going to score 50 goals last year, and like, he was way down. So I'm happy to report too. That I got him. Forsberg as well. Yeah, I mean, Forsberg always suffers because Nashville offensively, not like a juggernaut of a team, but he's good for 30 or 40 every year. So, yeah, I got Caulfield and I got Josh Anderson playing some important minutes and playing. He's going to be the net front guy on that power play. And, but yeah, I got Montreal to win this one tonight.
Nice. I'm a little hesitant to take any shot props from this game. Hartman kind of stands out and Kaprizov stands out to me. Yeah, it looks like they got Raphael Harvey-Pinard, your boy, up with Suzuki and Caulfield, Anderson with Newhook and Slavkovsky in there as well. So Anderson is shooting. Monahan's been pretty impressive. The one guy that I would lean on for shot props on the Habs side of thing actually would be Michael Matheson. He just plays so much. He shoots a lot. He did have over 2.5 shots the other night. I will give a little bit of a shout out to Brock Faber of the Wild to to start the season, 21 minutes and 24 minutes. He's got a point in each of his first 2 games. He's got blocks. He's hitting people, 3 blocks, 3 shots, 3 hits. He scored the game-winning goal against the Panthers in the first game. It's just with Minnesota so banged up, as we talked about, like Kalen Addison's going to get that power play time, but he doesn't do a whole lot. Like he doesn't hit or block shots or shoot or anything like that. So there's a deep league pull for you guys. Maybe you can get behind that one. Yeah, I like Kaprizov as well. I don't have that one in the tracker, but that's one I'm going to put on. It's probably my favorite play from the game. Minus 130 over at Bet Rivers is pretty solid, and he's plus 100 for an assist and plus 150 for 2 points. So like it's the Kaprizov show here today. Yes, we're on the same page with Matheson over. Joel Eriksson Ek is a good one. Yeah, I kind of slipped my mind with Eriksson Ek. He's like probably the most consistent wild. Like even though Kaprizov is on the squad, he doesn't always shoot. Like when I watch sometimes Kaprizov, he's like just dishing it off and passing it all the time. It's like I'd love to see him shoot a little bit more, but it's in his nature to pass it off. Okay, a couple more here and we'll get out of here. Arizona and the Islanders. I was a little too low on the Islanders, according to you, and maybe a little bit too high on Arizona. I think they're here. I'm not as bold as other people. I'll give a shout out to our friends over at NHL Fantasy on Ice, Anna and Pete Jensen. They had Arizona in the playoffs. I was a little bit surprised to see that. In the NHL betting guide, there's a link inside the description of this video. I gave like a little bit of a sprinkle to the Coyotes at 5-1 to make the playoffs. I don't think it's a fluke that they went into New Jersey and beat them, and they hung with the Rangers last night in what was their home opener. And now they have a tough spot here in the second half of a back-to-back against the Islanders and Ilya Sorokin. But man, I have so much Clayton Keller, Logan Cooley, Sean Durzi, Barrett Hayton. Those 4 players and just the additions. Like I'm not crazy about Jason Zucker or Alexander Kerfoot, but it's an upgrade just having capable NHL players to play on their second or third line. Michelli's a nice little young player. I've been super impressed with Logan Cooley to start for the 2 games. Sean Durzi's in for a career season. He had the most ice time out of anybody in the first game. He had a power play goal. He's on that first unit. I really like some of these Arizona players, but I don't think we'll see a lot of offense tonight. So I have a lean to the under, and I want to give some love to Brock Besser because this guy is just the most disrespected, maybe one of the most disrespected players in hockey, Eric, because when I was doing all these drafts, whether it's with my buddies or over at Underdog Fantasy, nobody wants him. Nobody wants this guy, but every year he scores like 25, 30 goals, man. And again, he's off to a decent start.
Yeah.
Or not Besser, Brock Nelson.
Nelson. Yeah, I knew what you were saying. You said Besser, but I knew you were thinking Nelson. I've loved Nelson forever. Had him for several years in our salary cap league. Look at Vejmelka, I think, is a massive surprise for everybody, including the Arizona Coyotes.
He's good
in goal, but Sorokin is one of, if not, maybe, he's a top 5 goalie in the league. I got Nelson and Engvall. Engvall, because of just the minutes he's playing, his physical capabilities, and the fact that he's plus 245. Arizona side, just like you said, I got Keller at plus 170. He might be the most disrespected offensive player in the league. Like, I get that Arizona is not good and hasn't been good in a decade, but this guy's unbelievable and is unbelievably consistent. I'm going to bet on him most nights that he plays. I'm going to bet on him to score. The offense flows through him. And Logan Cooley has looked pretty good, man, for a young guy from what I've saw. And he's plus 360. Like, that's because of the player. He's a rookie, but because of the minutes he's playing and because of the players he's playing with and what Arizona is asking him to do, plus 360 will not last. So hop all over it. I think he scores tonight. I got the Islanders winning this game, but look, Arizona is going to be a fun team. Do I think they're going to make the playoffs? Yeah. Absolutely not. I do not believe that for a second. There's too many good teams in the Western Conference that I think are going to be on a big comeuppance. Like I think Nashville, they're going to be better. Maybe that's a homer. That's the homer pick in me, and the fact that they play in a college gymnasium. But those are my picks tonight. I think Islanders win this game at home.
My thing with the Preds, they're just super young, right? They're super young and super thin. Like if anything happened to Forsberg again or UC Saros, like if Saros went down, they'd be a bottom 10 team in the league. But it's going to be I don't think Arizona makes it either. It's like a long shot thing. But at the end of the season, it's going to be, it was really tough. Like I said, Calgary, Vancouver, Winnipeg, Nashville, those teams all kind of hanging around there. You're right about Logan Cooley. I mean, 19 minutes in each of his first 2 games, 3 points. They've all come on the power play. They have him on that number 1 power play, which is, perfect for the kid, right? He's sitting there with Dursey on the point and Hayton and Schmaltz and Keller. It's awesome. And Clayton Keller, I went back, and this is was in the fantasy hockey draft kit. Clayton Keller at 5-5 numbers over the last 2 months of the season. Only McKinnon and Pasternak had more goals and points than Clayton Keller, and it was just like a goal and a couple points. So he was an elite company down the stretch of the season. He's minus 145 for 2.5 shots, but I kind of like him just to hit the score sheet tonight, even though it's Sorokin. But I lean, and I really want to pick Arizona, but it's tough on that second half, right? I leaned the under. I think it's probably the best bet from the game. I believe we have 2 more, and then you got anything from Carolina? 3 more. Carolina and San Jose.
I'm not betting against Carolina. I got Jarvis.
300 favorites here.
You mentioned it earlier, Teravainen. I heard a thing this morning that he's on pace for 139 points. Look, that's not happening. But he's on a heater, right? And this is what the NHL is. He's looked like the best offensive player for the Carolina Hurricanes. San Jose side, I've got Barabanov because he hasn't scored yet. I think he's going to be a very important player for them. He's at plus 330, and Thomas Hertl at plus 210. San Jose is going to be bad, guys. Like, there's just no.
They're going to be the worst team in the league. I think
they're still going to play in NHL games. They're still going to acquire NHL points, and these numbers are crazy. I mean, Thomas Hertl is, a very, very good offensive player, and I get he plays for a very bad team, but he's still going to score goals and get points. And if you're giving me plus 210 for him, I'm in love with it.
I don't want to just Carolina burned us the other night. It was we had them against the Ducks on the puck line. Both teams were playing back to back. Ranta was a sieve and net. I probably go back to Carolina at -1 at puck line at -118. Something about Carolina, man. They do frustrate me. I feel like they generate chances, but they don't score. Tebow's plus 110 for a point. So yeah, ride this thing out. As you said, he's not going to have over 100 points, over 130, but he's off to a really good start. He's plus 110 for a point. He's also plus 350 for a power play point. And it's something to consider as well. The Sharks were one of the most penalized teams in the league last year. And yeah, it's going to be another long season. They are just extremely thin on the blue line. Like, they just don't have anything. They rolled out 5 forwards the other night on their first power play. And it was just like, it was a mess. I was like, man, you guys are rolling out Hoffman on the point. You're going to give up a lot of shorthanded goals this year.
I'm GMing them in my franchise mode on NHL EA Sports 24. That's the team I pick because the jerseys are cool and their team is awesome.
Sharks?
So I want to see if I can GM them to a Stanley Cup here in the franchise mode.
You're a psycho. How fun could that be playing with the Sharks? Like, what's the expectations? When do you get to the playoffs?
Anthony Duclair, 50 goals. Let's go.
When do you get to the playoffs with that squad? 2026?
I'm going to say I'm probably not going to make it this year. I play on like All Pro, which is pretty difficult. I don't play online because I get too frustrated. I just play against the PlayStation, the computer, or whatever you want to call it. But I do franchise every year. I do it.
Is it PS?
Play a game.
We should stream against each other for the
we
boys.
Should.
We should take some bets on shot props and point props.
PS5, PS5 for me.
Yeah. Okay. Let's. We'll have to. Man, I'm surprised we haven't linked up yet. We'll have to do that. One Carolina player I like it's funny when I look at shot attempts, I see it's the same thing we talked about last year. Brent Burns, Brett Pesce, Brayden Shea, like all the defensemen are up at the top for this team. Like, where are the forwards? Natchez is the guy that I would lean on here tonight. I can't trust Aho. I can't take the odds. Natchez is at 2.5. That's the Carolina player that I would trust. And let's move over to, we got 2 more here, Winnipeg and LA, and then also Buffalo and Tampa. Let's do Buffalo and Tampa here. The Sabres are at home, -110. The Bolts at plus 102 on the road. The total is like 7 in some spots. Again, goaltending on the Tampa side of things. I don't know if Stamkos is going to play. Man, did the Senators ever take it to the Lightning the other day? It was just they just dominated possession, and they just shot, put all kinds of pucks on net towards the goal. Buffalo hasn't shown us a whole lot to start the season. It's been a very quiet start for Tage Thompson and Alex Tuck. They played 2 decent defensive squads. They lost to the Rangers 5-1 and the Islanders 3-2. I think now we'll see them break out tonight against Tampa. Like Tage Thompson, Alex Tuck. I think these guys break out this evening. Brandon Hagel's a guy that I've been going to at over 2.5 shots. He's hit over the past couple as well. So those are kind of my guys here tonight, but we should see a lot of offense tonight. What you got between the Sabres and the Lightning?
Yeah, I got Sabres winning this one at home. I got Tage to score at plus 100. I mean, you're just not going to keep this guy off the goal sheet for long.
Right.
He's one of the most gifted forwards in the NHL, and I think tonight he gets it right. Dylan Cousins is a guy that I love to bet on to score. Plays important minutes for them, centering the top power play, so I love that. Tampa Bay side, I got Point and Nick Paul. Nick Paul is off to a really good start and is playing on the top power play, so you love that. When guys are hot, man, just bet on them to keep doing it until they prove you wrong.
Hagel is minus 130 for 2.5 shots. And yeah, like I said, I just think that the breakout happens here tonight between Tuck and Tage. I'll do a same game parlay with those two guys to pick up a point. I'm going to lean Tuck over 2.5 shots as opposed to Tage at over 3.5. But I think both guys show up tonight in a big way. I'll hit up the chat in a second. We just want to roll through this last game, recap our favorite picks, and then we'll see what you guys have any final questions for tonight. So Winnipeg at home, the Jets minus 125. You mentioned Scheifele and Connor Hellebuck, so those guys are locked in. I thought they did okay in the Pierre-Luc Dubois trade. I'm really impressed with Gabriel Velarde. He had 8 shots, I think, in the opener. He's on that top line with Kyle Connor, our guy, and Scheifele, and that trio has looked really good to start the season. So I haven't seen any shot props on Velarde yet. Oh, now it's there, but it's minus 200 for 2 shots. That's something I'm not interested in. But I like the minus 110 for a point. It's actually one of my favorite bets on the board. Gabriel Velarde, minus 110 for a point. He's plus 205 for an assist. Look, he's just getting an opportunity, a legit opportunity. Yep. He had a breakout campaign last year, playing on the third line for the Kings, a little bit of PP one time, but playing with Connor and Scheifele, and the ice time has been significant. And not only is 5-5 numbers with those guys, it's power play time. His ownership is too low in Yahoo. It's 14%. He's just got the 1 point through 2 games, but 21 minutes and 20 minutes, he is going to touch career highs across the board. And most of all, like just usage, right? Ice time at 5-5 and ice time on power play, 9 shots. So he had 7 in the opener. He's got 9 shots through 2 games. And the Kings, as deep as they are and as much as we like them, man, dude, they just don't have any goaltending. They're so deep down the middle with Kopitar, Danault, and the addition of Pierre-Luc Dubois and locking him up. Their goaltending is going to be an issue all year long for them. Like Cam Talbot has been awful in the preseason, and he wasn't good in the opener. And Copley wasn't good in the opener as well. I have some issues with the Kings. I mean, so far 2 games, they've allowed 11 goals in those 2 games to start the season. Man, it's yikes. I don't really have a huge lean. I'd say the Kings could come in and pull off the upset, but I'm going Velarde. I think Velarde scores tonight. I think Velarde scores. He picks up the point. Kyle Connor's too hot to ignore at the moment. And on the other side, I'll lean with Adrian Kempe, our guy.
Yeah, I think LA's going to squeak one out here. I think they're going to get right here in Winnipeg. You're right with the goaltending. They got to sort something out. But I love Kempe to score tonight at 160 and Kevin Fiala to score at 225. Winnipeg, this is a Kyle Connor show, and it looks like Kyle Connor is back to being Kyle Connor. Like, this guy is just a ridiculous offensive player, right? Every time he has the puck on his stick, it feels like something can happen. Great release, great vision, electric skater, really, really good offensive player at plus 130. And it's the narrative bet and the fact that where he's playing, like you said, but Gabe Velarde at plus 200 to score. I think he scores tonight.
Nice. I like it. Let's go. Maybe a little bit too early to, as much as I like Velarde and he's completely available in a lot of leagues, it's probably like, I think my feeling is right on him, but maybe it's a wait and see. I don't think anybody's rushing to the waiver wire to go grab him at the moment. He's only got center eligibility on Yahoo. It's gonna take a couple more games and then he'll get right wing probably. Would you drop any of those guys for Velarde or Brock Besser, EY, Cousins, Skinner, or Tuck? I mean, I'm not dropping Tuck. There's no chance I'm dropping Tuck. I would consider maybe Skinner for Brock Besser. It's okay that you're loaded on with Sabres because they were one of the highest scoring teams in the league last year, and they will be again. But I could see myself moving on from Skinner for Brock, but I'd honestly probably just stay with what you got. You got a feeling?
Yeah, I'd probably stay too. Man, look, I mean, Velarde is unproven, but we've seen when he gets rolling, like what he can do, even playing like low amount of minutes on the third line and playing some power play time with LA. Like, dude's a shooter, right? There isn't just, it's undeniable his release and his shot. If he's going to continue to play in that position for Winnipeg, then I would love him. There's no secret that I've loved Brock Besser since coming into the league. When he's on, there's very few goalies that can stop him, right? I mean, just he's an elite shooter, but he's just so streaky. It's hard to say. I'd probably stand pat with what you have. I might do Besser for Skinner, but man, it's just so early, right? Like it's just so early to be moving on and off of players. Give it another week and see what happens.
Yeah, like I said, I don't think anybody's rushing to get Velarde.
No.
But the Sabres ran into Shesterkin and Sorokin to start the year. Like those are the two top goalies in the league. So, we'll see. Like Jeff Skinner's a guy that he probably has the highest ceiling of the three. I mean, how many goals do you have last year? I mean, this guy's like he could score 30 plus like pretty easily this season. Okay, so let's recap here. I'll start with some sides that I like, and then you got some goal scorers, and I'll wrap up with some shots. So I like the Canucks at -130 on the money line tonight. I think Vancouver beats the Philadelphia Flyers. For me, inside that game, actually, I'll save it. I'll save the shots and things towards the end. So Vancouver tonight, if there was a goal scorer for me inside that game, it would be Kuzmenko. I like Minnesota on the road as well at -138. Kaprizov, Joel Eriksson Ek. These are guys that I would target. I like Matheson and Caulfield on the other side for shots. I like the under between the Arizona Coyotes and the New York Islanders. Just really strong goaltending, of course, from Sorokin. And as much as I like the Coyotes offense taking an uptick, it's a tough spot for them in the second half of a back-to-back tonight. I like the Edmonton Oilers on the money line, -145 against your Preds. My dog would be the Kings here at +114 to go into Winnipeg and pull off a victory and see if they can get some goaltending tonight. And I like the Avs at -145. And then I will wrap up with the Hurricanes on the puck line. So those are the sides and totals for me. And we'll throw it over to you. You got some goal scorers.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'm going to do my 8-way. Those are the players that I believe are most likely to score. If I can find a betting app that will allow me to do it, I will sprinkle a couple dollars on it. I got Besser, Kaprizov, Draisaitl, Connor, Kempe, McKinnon, Robertson, and Forsberg. And my lock of the night to score a goal tonight is Tage Thompson for Buffalo.
Tage Thompson. I like it. I like him to score as well. My 5 goal scorers tonight would be Kuzmenko, Kaprizov, Tage Thompson. I'm going to stay away from Edmonton. It's just too obvious. Gabriel Velarde, Adrian Kempe, and I like McKinnon. There's 6. I like McKinnon. The 8-way. The 8-way. I love it.
It's back.
So for some shot props,
we're going to get one this year. It's going to happen.
We are going to get one. For some shot props tonight, I'll just roll through the games. I'll try to just narrow it down to some, not too many, but I like Brock Besser and Cam Atkinson in the Canucks and Philadelphia game. I like Joel Eriksson Ek and Kaprizov. I also like Michael Matheson. I'm going to tuck over Tage, but I think both guys are certainly in play. And I like Brendan Hagel. Staying away from the Coyotes and Islanders game, I don't mind Keller, but it's a touch juice at -145. But that would be the one guy that I would pick inside that game and maybe lean to Brock Nelson. On the Edmonton Oilers side, I like Evan Bouchard at -125. Also like him to pick up an assist tonight. Forsberg is 3.5. I would actually have a lean to the over on that 3.5 there at plus money. For the Kings, I like Kempe and I like Kyle Connor. I mean, Gabriel Velarde, if I saw him at a decent price, I would take that one. McKinnon, can't go wrong with Nathan McKinnon. I like the 2-point night from Mikko Rantanen at +140. The assist for Jonathan Drouin at +145. Dallas, if it's Hintz In the lineup, I will lean Hintz. I'm going Shea Theodore and Jack Eichel on the other side of things. And then Martin Necas for the Carolina Hurricanes and Teuvo Teravainen for a point as well. Hayton, we should have did it last night, shouldn't we? We should have did it last night. You jumped in the Discord, Adam, and I think it was, what was it, plus 145 for Hayton to have 3 shots? He had 5. Hayton is, I'm not seeing that plus 115 anywhere. I do see plus 110 at DK for over 2.5. I don't hate it. I don't hate it, man. Guy likes to shoot the puck. He likes. It's not the same old stingy Islanders from the Barry Trotz days. No, plus 138 last night, right? I think he had 4 in the first period. Barstool. Gotcha. Okay, guys, we're out of here. Any questions, you guys can always hit us up at the Eric Young, at Chris Meaney. Links inside the description of this video for waiver wire stuff, fantasy hockey content. We'll be back on Thursday. Do you want to do a dangle bet, Celly? Is it too late, do you think, to do a fantasy hockey draft with the viewers and the listeners? Like, no, but like,
it's not.
Yahoo allow
I don't
it?
think. I mean, I get we're going to miss the first week, or whatever. But I mean,
the first 2.
There's plenty. Yeah, the first 2. There's plenty of time left in the NHL. We said we were going to do it. I'm taking the L on this. It's totally my fault. Not organizing my schedule and being on the other side of the planet made things very difficult. But I would love to do it if we can get, 10 other guys jumping with me and you. Let's do it. Okay,
so I'll set this up today. Should we just draft Thursday morning? Like, is that, give me some feedback. Wednesday night, Thursday morning. Evenings is really tough for me. I mean, hockey's on. We're all watching hockey. We both play beer league hockey. I play like 4 times a week. So it's really tough in the evening to try to find time. But maybe we do it Thursday before the show. I mean, there's enough people hanging out here that maybe we can do a quick draft Thursday before the show, and then we can give some picks. So give me some feedback. Let me know. I'm seeing on Yahoo, I can set this up. This is probably the last week that you can do a draft. So we'll miss the first little bit. Guys will reach for Brock Besser, and then we'll just we'll laugh and have a good time. We'll just we'll take the value of guys that have no points to start. Have you ever done a draft 2 weeks into the season? It's like I did it once, and everybody was just like reaching on guys that have had good starts, but it's it's jokes. It looks like we have a couple of people that are ready to go and they want to do it. So I'll set that up. I'll post a link, and we'll get the show set up for Thursday, and I'll post a link of the draft, the invite as well. So I'll let you guys know as first, but those listening and watching and stuff, look for that. We'll try to draft Thursday morning at like 10:30 Eastern. And it'll be free to sign up. We can do some side bets, whatever. But it'll be free league. Don't worry about the cash and things like that. We'll have some fun. Draft with us, and we'll follow it all year long. We'll probably do a head-to-head category draft with goals, assists, blocks, hits, power play points, goals, assists, obviously. And we'll stay clear of the plus minus and the penalty minutes because that's not for us. It's not for us. All right. Good stuff.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers.
This was fun. Lifeblood. Right. I'm back.
Yeah, we're back, baby. Okay. Have a good one, guys. Appreciate you. Smash the like button. Tell a friend. Rate, review, subscribe. All that good stuff. We'll see you guys on Thursday. Enjoy the hockey. Let the winners be yours. Peace.